Hello, my name is Emily. I am a student of English. Today I want to tell you my story. It is about how I started learning English and the challenges I faced. I will also share the tips and methods that helped me improve. It all started one sunny morning. I was riding the bus to work, as usual. The bus was crowded, and I was sitting near two women. They were chatting in English. At first, I wasn't paying attention, but then I started to listen. At that time, I was learning English, but I was a beginner. I only knew basic words and phrases like hello and thank you. Listening to them, I could understand a few words, but most of their conversation sounded like a mystery to me. I wanted to talk to them, but I felt shy. What if I say something wrong? I thought. But then, I remembered something my friend once told me. You learn by doing. So I decided to try. I smiled at the women and said, "Hello. I am learning English." They both stopped talking and looked at me. My heart was racing. But then one of them smiled and said, "That's wonderful. Keep going." I felt more confident and said, "I like English. I want to learn more." My sentences were short and simple, but they understood me. We talked for about 10 minutes. They told me they were visiting the city for a conference and loved traveling. Before they left, one of them handed me her email address and said, "If you ever want to practice, write to me. I would be happy to help you." I was so grateful. I waved goodbye as they left the bus. That day I felt inspired. I decided to take my English learning seriously. At home, I opened my notebook and wrote down what I had learned from the conversation. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Every evening after work, I dedicated an hour to studying English. I started with small steps. I read simple books with pictures. I watched movies with subtitles and paused often to write down new words. I downloaded an app to learn vocabulary, and I used it every day. One day, I found an English class at a school near my house. I signed up immediately. On the first day, I met my teacher, Mrs. Carter, and other students from different countries. Everyone was there for the same reason, to learn English. Mrs. Carter was very kind and understanding. She welcomed everyone and said, "Learning a language is like learning to ride a bike. At first it's hard. You might fall, but if you keep trying, you will succeed." During our first class, we introduced ourselves. I said, "My name is Emily. I am from Brazil. I like cooking and reading." Mrs. Carter smiled and said, "Great. That's a wonderful start." In class, we focused on speaking. Mrs. Carter told us, "The best way to learn a language is to use it every day. Speak as much as you can, even if you make mistakes. Mistakes are a part of learning." We practiced in pairs. My partner, Sam, was from South Korea. We talked about our favorite foods, hobbies, and dreams. It was fun and helped me feel more comfortable speaking English. One day, a student asked Mrs. Carter, "What is the best way to learn new words?" Mrs. Carter replied, "Reading is one of the best ways. When you read, you see words in context, and that helps you remember them better." She explained that we should choose books or articles that we enjoy. If you like what you're reading, you'll stay motivated, she said. Start with something simple and work your way up to more difficult texts. Mrs. Carter also taught us about shadowing. She said, "Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say immediately. This helps you improve your pronunciation and speaking rhythm." We practiced shadowing in class. At first, it was hard to keep up, but Mrs. Carter encouraged us. She said, "Don't worry about being perfect. Focus on trying your best." After a few weeks, I noticed a big improvement in my pronunciation. I could speak more fluently and with confidence. Mrs. Carter also shared another technique called thinking aloud. She said, "When you are alone, try to say your thoughts out loud in English. For example, if you are cooking, you can say, 'I am chopping onions. Now I am boiling water.'" At first, it felt strange to talk to myself, but I gave it a try. I said things like, "I am going to work," or "I am reading a book." Over time, it became natural, and I noticed that I started thinking in English instead of translating from my native language. One of my favorite moments was when I met a tourist from Australia. He was lost and needed directions. He asked, "Can you help me find the museum?" I was nervous but excited. I used simple sentences to help him, and he understood me. That experience gave me a lot of confidence. At the end of each week, I wrote in my journal about my progress. I wrote down new words, phrases, and experiences. It helped me see how much I was learning. One day, Mrs. Carter told us, "Learning a language is a journey, not a race. Enjoy the process, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every small step brings you closer to your goal." I also joined the school's football team. Playing sports helped me meet new friends and practice English in a fun way. My teammates came from different countries, so we all used English to communicate. After a few months, I wrote an email to the woman I met on the bus. I told her about my progress and thanked her for encouraging me. She replied, "I'm so proud of you. Keep going and never give up." Looking back, I realized that learning English has been more than just studying a language. It has been about building confidence, meeting new people, and discovering the joy of communication. If you are learning English, remember to take it one step at a time. Use the language every day, even in small ways. Watch movies, read books, and talk to people. And most importantly, don't give up. Thank you for watching Emily's journey of learning English. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like this video and share it with a friend who's also learning English. Subscribe to our channel for more motivating stories and practical tips to improve your English. And hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest videos. Remember, every small step brings you closer to your goal. Keep practicing, and see you in the next video.